I am humbled to receive this honorary doctorate, and it's a true privilege to address the University College Arts and Science graduating class of 2017. I'd like to begin by congratulating you all on the hard work that has led you to this very significant day in your life. This occasion marks not only a celebration of your formal education, but also your launch into the next phase of your lives, perhaps into the working world, perhaps into the next stage of your academic career. You should all be very proud of your accomplishments and at the same time mindful of the power you have as graduates to create positive change in this world. So let me start today with a question, and everybody can join in. I'd like to see a show of hands. Who has heard of the word Anthropocene? It's kind of my normal, like 10 or 15%. Well, my team and I are very interested in trying to make this a word that everybody understands, but I'm going to speak a bit to that. Geologically speaking, we are either in or have recently left the Holocene epoch, which began some 12,000 years ago. There is a group of world-renowned scientists and geologists gathering evidence to determine whether we have left the Holocene epoch and entered a new geological epoch, the Anthropocene. The term was coined to describe the massive and possibly irreversible effects that humans have on our planet. These include changes such as carbon loading into the atmosphere, acidification and heating of the oceans, deforestation, and massive agricultural expansion, much of which leads to global warming. Outward signs of this time of accelerated change are extreme weather conditions, extinction events, glacial retreats, coral die-off, reduced oceanic biomass, just to name a few. We are likely in the Anthropocene epoch, now, today, at your Convocation ceremony. This is not some apocalyptic fiction taking place in a distant future. It is either the present or we stand at its threshold. Some geological epochs have ended dramatically, such as the Cretaceous period 65 million years ago, when a massive meteor struck the planet, resulting in the extinction of the dinosaurs and over 70% of the world's species. The Anthropocene means that we humans have become the impact equivalent of that meteor. For almost 4 decades, I've traveled our world documenting evidence of the Anthropocene, photographing colossal mines, quarries, dams, oil tankers, roadways, tire piles, and giant trash heaps, telling a story, frame by frame, of a planet reshaped by human need and ambition. I have come to believe that short of an all-out nuclear war, this is the most important challenge of our time, for without a viable planet to live on, everything else becomes a moot point. The Anthropocene is now the name of my next major film, photography, and museum show, to be released in the fall of 2018, a project I'm working on with my 2 partners, Jennifer Beischwald and Nick DePonce in the audience. But how does any of this relate to you? I hope that after working in 28 countries, chronicling the Anthropocene, and being faced with some incredible challenges and adversity, I can offer some of what I've learned and give a bit of direction for the class of 2017 as you and we all enter this new epoch. My first thought is that your education doesn't stop today at your graduation. It is, in fact, just beginning. As Thomas Friedman wrote in a book, Thank You for Being Late, I highly recommend each of you read that. He states, we go on to school for 12 years or more during our childhoods and early adulthoods, and then we're done. And then, with the pace of change being this fast, the only way to retain a lifelong working capacity is to engage in lifelong learning. I have been a lifelong learner, and it's largely, I think, why my company, Toronto Imageworks, still survives after 32 years in business. Imageworks started as a small business processing film and producing optical enlargements for artists and professional photographers, a business that has been largely disrupted out of existence. Do any of you remember Kodak? I believe that the business is still alive today, partly because I knew that change was inevitable and that my team would have to constantly learn new disciplines and incorporate these into the business. At Toronto Imageworks, that meant adapting from analog to digital and constantly cannibalizing a tried and true way of offering analog products and services that had a reliable margin to an expensive, money-losing, slow, and unreliable digital process at that time. I did this against my accountant's advice because I knew if I didn't, I may as well close up shop and do something else. Today, Toronto ImageWorks stands as one of the last remaining high-end digital labs still operating in the city, where there were over 25 competitors 20 years ago. There is a saying out there, we often overestimate technology change in the short term and underestimate its effects in the long term. So my advice to you is to be aware, be well-read, be on top of your game, and most of all, in a perpetual state of curiosity, always learning new skills. I like this great Wayne Gretzky quote, "I skate to where the puck is going to be, not where it has been." I'm still learning today with 3D printing and the possibilities in augmented and virtual reality. I'm no longer a photographer and filmmaker working in 2 dimensions only. I seem now to be a lens-based artist, incorporating a 3rd dimension into my work. I like to think of this as photography 3.0, with 1.0 being the analog film technology I grew up with, 2.0 being the digital camera that revolutionized the industry, and 3.0 is adding the Z-axis to the 2D of photography. Today I continue to look for where the puck will be, and I see it in the new world of 3D imaging, including VR and AR, with all of its new possibilities. I see this as a new way of expressing my art in a new direction for photography. I've started a new company called Think to Thing that is focused on exploring VR and AR as a further expression of my work. This is a long way from where I first started in an analog world, but I see this as an important place to go as I believe the next generations will be looking to these mediums for their entertainment, learning, and stories of our world. To give you a sense of what VR and AR mean to me, last year the Anthropocene team traveled to Kenya to document the burning of over 100 tons of elephant tusks, worth over $150 million, and that has been confiscated from poachers. This was a powerful and controversial demonstration of zero tolerance towards poaching and an unequivocal message that the ivory trade, legal and illegal, must be stopped, period, or elephants and the rhinos will become extinct within 25 years. Many of us do not realize this, but there are only 25 large tusker elephants left on the planet, just 25. To give you a sense of the scale of the burn, those 8,000 tusks represented about 4,000 magnificent elephants, which, if lined up tusk to tail, would form an unbelievable 32-kilometer long chain. I wanted to capture this tusk pile in high-resolution 3D. This was a moment in history that would disappear, literally go up in smoke forever the day after the pile was constructed. We have that record now. It's in a form that allows the viewer to experience it in the 3rd dimension as a full-color 3D print or a virtual augmented reality. And this will exist forever for your kids to see one day, and hopefully, when they do, elephants will still exist on our planet. So practice how to be light on your feet and light on the planet, how to move smoothly from one technology to another, from one paradigm to another, adapting to new circumstances and new operating conditions, and always be learning new skills, adding tools to your toolkit. But as you adapt, believe in yourself and stick to your beliefs. And believing in yourself is something that I can tell you from experience is crucial. In 1983, I spent 4 solitary months driving around North America in my trusty Volvo. I had a grant from the Canada Council and was photographing mines, rail cuts, quarries, and if you can imagine this, taxidermy workshops. At one point mid-trip, I remember talking to my mom in a public phone where I still had to put coins in the phone to keep going. And I can remember her saying to me, "Eddie, who's going to buy these pictures?" They were pictures of mines. There was really no market at that time for color photography, and I had no idea who, in fact, was going to buy my pictures. But I had a conviction, a belief that if I dedicated my life to building a compendium of images that illuminated the largest human systems on the planet, an audience would eventually emerge. And lucky for me, a buyer's market did emerge, a very, very long 10 years later, but in the meantime, I subsidized my life by running Toronto ImageWorks, which also became the backbone for the printing of my artwork. I knew at the time that my art alone could not support me, and I started this business for that reason. But I did so with an unwavering belief in that art. My 93-year-old mom is still here with us today, and I don't want to say to her, "I told you so, Mom," but I did, in fact, want to say people did eventually buy my pictures. So, and look at me now, I'm standing getting an honorary doctorate. So thank you. And so what I want to say is, so believe in yourself, but manage your risk. one thing is for sure, you will have failures, but you can't let them debilitate you. In my line of work, no is usually the first thing I hear. No, you can't have access to our mine to shoot it. No, you can't photograph inside my factory. No, you definitely can't fly over with a helicopter over those oil slicks. But I persevere, and most of the time, not always, the no becomes a yes. So don't accept no. Take no as your starting point. No is the work where the work really begins. So as I wrap up, I want to leave you with one last thought. In fact, it's a request. For the greater part of my career, I have preferred to remain non-didactic, letting my art and its subject speak for itself. It's been important to me that people experience the art, taking a moment to become intimate with the image and the reality it captures. The intrigue in this approach has always been in seeing the response of the viewer, the flickers of wonder and awe, recognition and deep concern that I see when people stand in front of the image and take them in. Emotions that occur upon realizing that these landscapes have been dramatically changed by human hands with a great cost to that place that we call nature. I've spent a great deal of time in these landscapes watching them continue to change, watching us continue to change them. Our collective impact is inevitable. As the population booms, so does our need for resources. We are now spending the land and the seas like currency, and the Earth's systems are under threat. Recent global events have made me feel deeply and passionately that we have to do something, each of us. So I would like to take this opportunity to call you, the class of 2017, to action. I'm simply asking you to do something, anything for our planet. Plant a tree, plant 100 trees. Ride your bike to work, stop using plastic bags or drink out of plastic bottles. Eat less meat, whatever it is. Just do something and keep doing something. And you can tweet about it using a hashtag I started, hashtag do something, DOSOMN, and inspire others to also do something. Whether it's big or small, I encourage you to start making a change. Our planet is fragile. Now, not tomorrow, not next week, not next year, but now is the time to take responsibility for our actions and our future. When you see something that isn't right, you can make a positive change. Do something about it. Remember, there is no alternative. There is no planet B. Let's try to do our best to make the Anthropocene epoch a triumph of stewardship rather than a catastrophe, not just for our species, but also for all other species we could take down with us. So with that, I would like to say thank you. Thank you for inviting me to speak to you today, and a special thank you to the University of Toronto Governing Council for awarding me this honorary degree. To the class of 2017, my deepest congratulations. I wish you all fulfilling and meaningful lives that contribute towards a good Anthropocene, both for our species and for the planet. Now get out there and do something. Thank you very much.